morning. Good morning, everyone from Melbourne, Australia. It's going to take me a minute here to get everything set up, make sure it's working. I'm finding my live feed over here on my desktop monitor. And there we go. And I will start giving you a tour very soon. Yeah, you get to see my face for a little bit today. And I will wait here until somebody else is logged on. We are dry so far this morning, which is a good thing. We have been quite wet over the last almost a week, not quite. Started, I guess, Thursday night. We started having very high winds and just wave after wave of moisture coming in off the bay and the ocean, and much colder temperatures. I'm told August is the coldest month here in Melbourne. And we did have a chilly spell, not like when we lived in Michigan or Illinois or anything, but cold. Places further inland and higher elevation had snow, which isn't unheard of, but is not an everyday occurrence, even in winter here. Somebody else is tuned in here. Who's here? Give me a shout if you're here, please. And yeah, over on my personal page, you'll see I posted a video that had some kangaroos hopping through a snowy field, which people thought was pretty cool. But no snow here in Melbourne. Yeah, so I think somebody else is here. Say hello. A couple people maybe. I will, I think, turn the camera around and start showing you some things. So as I go through, feel free to ask questions. I hopefully will be able to see comments here on my phone. I haven't done lives quite this way before. My friend Michelle is on. Hello, Michelle. Here we go. So there you can see, there's how I watch when I'm doing my lives. I watch on my big monitor there, and this is where I set up to actually do the live videos. The rest of the week when I'm working, I swap out my chairs in front of my computer, and my file cabinet is under my table, but it's on wheels, so it's easy to move. And then I've got my camera mount, and those lights actually move between this spot to illuminate where I'm working during the live. And I'll try not to make you too dizzy as I pan around here. I have this table set up when I'm not doing classes or having guests stay in this room. This is where I do my card photography. And then those lights just sit on either side of this and shine light on my card so I can get you some nice photos. While we're over here, this is my lovely sleep sofa. So if you come and are a guest here in our apartment, this is one option for you to stay on. We have another bedroom across the hall that was Nicole's, but since she's moved to her own apartment, that one's now available for guests as well. And this is my die cutting, embossing station. This table was my work table in my Arizona craft room on standard height legs. And when we moved here, I don't know how many of you know this, but for 2 months I sat in this room with a little teeny tiny folding table that someone loaned me and thought about how I wanted to set up this room before our stuff came. And I decided I wanted to take this tabletop that I brought from Arizona, it's just an IKEA tabletop, and put it on these height adjustable legs. So now it's the same height as like a kitchen counter. And so I can easily stand to do all of my cutting and scoring, embossing folders, and die cutting. And then I had bought one of these. This is a CD, DVD shelf from IKEA, and I realized I was going to need a lot more of them. Anyway, I wound up turning it on its side. I did a blog post about that about 6 months ago. It's on its side, and it's supported by these plastic storage drawers, and back behind here, these are the shelves. And it supports it there, and it just gives me some more storage. In Australia, there has been, at least in Victoria, a lot of restrictions on tenants mounting things to walls, and they are changing the tenancy laws so that people can do things like hang pictures on walls, because they have to actually live in their spaces that they're renting. And so we have finally gone ahead and put up some pictures. That one's probably crooked because just the other side of that wall is the building garbage chute, and so the door into that little tiny covered room and the door of the chute itself slam multiple times a day, and so I'm sure that, yeah, it's crooked. Let me come back over to this side. This is my main work table now, working desk. And again, IKEA. It's hard to go wrong with IKEA for basic working pieces. I like this one because it's deeper than the one that I had in Arizona. Hey, Nikki. And these are some storage units I got from Stampin' Storage in the US. If you're in Australia and you're interested in storage like this, well, Stampin' Up! Now has its own storage, which looks very useful. But if you want wood storage like this, I know of a couple places that are also creating this sort of thing, and I can point you in the right direction. In Arizona, I had all of my punches up on some IKEA rails, again, fastened into the wall in my Arizona studio, and I realized not long before we moved here that I wasn't going to be likely able to do that here, so I bought another unit from Stampin' Storage for punches, and I'm very glad I did, and they all just fit on the width of this desk, and I just love having everything right at hand. I've got a work light, I've got my iPad for either looking at things on blogs or Pinterest or watching lots of TV shows and movies while I craft. Yeah, I just have everything right at hand. And then my paper storage. People ask me how I store paper. And this left hand, this is just one of those wire file folder racks. I don't even have the wheels on it because I don't move it around. I actually have two of them. The one on the left, these are hanging files, and I have my full sheets of cardstock in the back, and in the front of each one, I have a manila folder that has all my scraps. So the first thing I do is I go for my scrap file to see if I have the right size for what I'm trying to do, and then I go to full sheets if I need it. And fortunately, even the A4 is a bit longer than letter size, but it's working just fine to have them in my letter size files from the US, which is a good thing because things are slightly different here, and it's not that I can't find these, it would have been harder to recreate it here. And then on this one, these are, I think they're basically 13 by 13 hanging files, and if somebody's really looking for them, I can track down where to find them in the US. But it's the same idea. My big sheets and then a smaller envelope with scraps in front. for each one of my 12 by 12s, which is, again, I think very handy. And then, oh yeah, I had bought the one white CD, DVD shelf unit from IKEA. I don't know what I was thinking, why I thought all of my stamps would fit on it, but I realized I was going to need more. So there was somebody, basically the local version of Craigslist, was selling a bunch of them, and I went and picked them up. That was funny. They were in their garage, and I requested a taxi. They call them maxi taxis, they're just basically minivans. And to emphasize that I needed the larger size, I said, oh yeah, there's like 5 people. And so they sent 2 regular taxis. I'm like, no, I really need the maxi taxi. So yeah, I did finally get them to send the maxi taxi, and got them in the back of the van and hauled them up in the elevator and put them in here all by my lonesome. So, but they were all assembled. They just needed to be put into place and have the shelves put in place. So anyhow, that's how I'm storing my stamp sets these days, with a few other knickknacks. This has its own ensuite bathroom. So again, come stay. You get your own space with all my craft supplies. And then this is the entry. That's the hallway and into what was Nicole's bedroom. But I am still displaying recent cards on my wall. You'll probably recognize some of them from my blog. I still have my card rack, closet, big closet here behind all the mirrored doors, and I am storing all kinds of crafting stuff in there. Sometimes I have to, when I do have guests, I kind of shift some things around. So they have some storage space as well. But when I do classes in here, I move my photo booth stuff out of the way and that table out of the way, and I set up a folding table here in the middle. And we set up for the number of people we're going to have, and we're off to the races in here. I can show you the view out my window, which is nothing. So this window is totally frosted, and this window looks out onto the light well. You get a reflection of me. Let's see what I can get here. That's not helpful at all. But I am 18 floors up, the top residential floor. There's a resident lounge right above our apartment and a gym on the other side of the building. And most of the time we don't hear anything. Where did I get my card rack? I bought it off an online vendor. I will post, if I can track it down, I'll post it. Oh, actually I do know, because it's right here on the bottom here. Utility displays. So I'll see if I can find a link for them and put it up. I just bought it new. I didn't try to track down a used one. It wasn't actually that expensive, especially, it's lasted through 2 different moves and going to different craft fairs and whatever. So that's been useful. What else? Any other questions about how I do things in here? What I'm doing? Yeah, well, I thought maybe this would go pretty quickly. So I did actually plan a card to make also today. So I think what I will do is, you're going to see the screen go dark while I put this into this lovely mount and get it set up. Otherwise, you'll probably wind up a bit seasick if you're not already. And and then I'll be right back to make a card. If something goes wrong and I hit a button that stops the broadcast, just go back and reload my page and I will start up again kind of instantaneously. So I'm going to cover up this lens now, probably keep talking to you, and yeah, that just saves you from getting jostled around more than you already have. So I'll get that on there and turn on some lights. Get myself seated. Let's see how we go. Ta-da! How we doing here? There, now we're focused too. So, I'm doing a card that I saw in a tutorial bundle, and Cheryl Miller is the one who designed this card, and she's an Australian demonstrator. She takes part, my upline, Kylie Bertucci, takes part in a monthly tutorial bundle, and as part of her downline I get the bundle, and there's often some nice cards in there. So I have a new team member, and I decided that, well, I wanted to make her a welcome card, so I decided to modify this one to be a welcome card. So I did some prep last night so that it's not so boring. Hi Meredith, you missed the craft room tour, but stick around for some stamping. You can catch the rest of the video when it's on replay later on. Oh, I need my mat. So we're going to be using the Floral Essence stamp set, and you can see I've made some masks, and I'm going to modify it from what she did to use some, at least one sentiment from this Stamping Your Way to the Top, which is for it's a demonstrator only set that has some neat things for running Stampin' Up business. But these are the Floral Essence set is photopolymer, so I'm going to use a mat underneath to get some good impressions, I hope. And we're going to do these two flowers in Highland Heather and Coastal Cabana. And let's see here. Get this inked up. And do one of these here. And another one down here. And let's see. So my husband Glenn has been on an adventure. I probably told you guys last week I was looking forward to having some quiet and alone time, because last Thursday morning, well, after a 3-hour delay, he flew from Melbourne to LA to Boston and was there until Sunday evening Boston time, when he turned around and retraced his steps back to Melbourne, which got him in crack of dawn Tuesday morning Melbourne time. He lost Monday because of the international dateline. And so he got in basically yesterday morning at breakfast. And then he's just left before I went live to fly to Sydney for basically 24 hours to be part of a panel discussion at an alumni event with the Vice Chancellor of University of Melbourne and some other panel members. What are you going to do here? Um, and yeah, so, he doesn't always have to travel, but it seems to come in clumps. I had to cut his trip to Boston short to be back to do this thing in Sydney tonight. But, as he says, it's worth it. Okay, so that's a number of flowers there. And now you might have seen when I brought this in, I stamped and cut some of the same flowers on Post-it notes. These Post-it notes, they have, instead of having sticky just on one edge, they're sticky all over, which makes them nice for masks. And I left a little bit of the trimmings because I wanted to be sure you could see, and I'll bring this up, hopefully you can see. When I cut them out, I cut them inside the stamped area. Just checking to see on my desktop monitor how well you can see this. Yeah, you can see. And that's because even just this, thickness of the paper, when I stamp over that edge, it will leave an unstamped ridge or rim. So if I've cut in and leave a little bit of this stamped part exposed, I won't wind up with a blank space. And I'll put these on and show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. I don't know if you can see that. Again, I have a delay between what I'm doing and what shows up on the broadcast feed on my screen. It's not quite enough there. No, that's still not it. We'll see how that goes. Can you see, if I bring that up, I've got just a little bit of the stamping showing because it will, trust me, it will, otherwise if I did it all the way up and covered up all of the blue that I stamped here, when I stamp the green leaves, it will leave a white frame around it. So I want a little bit to show. And I didn't make a mask for every single one. I'm going to wind up moving the masks. It's up to you how much fussy cutting you want to do versus how much moving around you want to do. So let's see how that works. I've got the leaf stamp and some Granny Apple Green. So let's see how this goes. So what this does, by masking it, it's going to make these leaves look like they are coming from behind the flowers. Can you see? Whoops, I have to be careful because that one is not masked. So I will move this mask. You see how that looks like it's coming from behind? Hi, Wendy. So now I'm going to move this one and we'll see how we're doing here. There we go. Cover up this one. So if you're just tuning in, I already did my craft room tour. You can go back and watch on the replay to catch that if you have any interest. And now I'm making a card using the Floral Essence stamp set. This is going to be a welcome card for a new member of my team. If you are thinking about joining Stampin' Up for any reason, particularly if you're looking to get a discount, you get a 20% discount right off the bat. This is an excellent month to do it because you get an extra, this is Australian figures, you get an extra $110 worth of free product in your starter kit. You get to order product from not just the still new annual catalog, but also from the soon to go live holiday catalog that's live and available now for demonstrators. It'll be available for customers September 4th, so you get a jump start on that. And I'm going to move this one. And you get a coupon for that you can apply to a purchase in September or October. In Australia, that it's a coupon for $16 of free product. And what else? Oh, and you will still be a demo, so you will have access a month early to the occasions catalog. That will be in early December. And whatever you buy out of that will be available with your 20% discount. So there's no obligation to sell, to do videos, to blog, to do any of the stuff that you see me doing. Of course, if you share the purchasing opportunity with friends, that helps you make your minimum and be able to stay as a demonstrator longer, maybe, if your budget is limited. But who doesn't want a 20% discount? That more than covers your shipping on every order. So that's cool. Okay, I'm going to take these masks off and see if I'm happy with the amount of leaves I've got, or whether I need to remask and restamp or stamp some additional leaves. But I do, at first you go, oh my God, I got to make all these masks and cut them out. But it's such a neat effect. And now that I have them, yeah, I think that's a nice amount of leaves. Now that I have them, I'm just going to put them right here in my case. And they're done. And the next time I want a mask, I've got them. So there we go. That I don't need anymore. That was just to show you how to really trim closely, because let me see, good example, like right there you can see there's a little bit of a white rim where it must have been covered up a little bit too close to the edge, and it left that little rim. Overall, you really can't see it, but it's better, I think, that there's a little bit where it's overlapped in a couple places instead of them all having that white shadow around where it becomes kind of obvious that you've done something. So I think overall that's a great look, and I think I'm ready to get rid of that. Oh, no. Need to do the flower centers. That's what I haven't done yet. So that's Daffodil Delight. And the two different size flowers have two different centers. This one that's pretty much fan shaped goes in the smaller one. Hi, Karen. Feel free to ask questions, make comments, tell me what you've been working on, etc. And this one, you can see, goes right there. Yeah, that just adds to it, I think. There we go. And we'll get those all out of the way. So that's going to wind up being so this is part of the Perennial Essence Vellum, and this is the one, it's So Saffron, and right in front of me, tear and tape. Sometimes vellum can be, well, there are tricks to adhering on vellum. Sometimes tear and tape is just the way to go for quick and easy. See if I can get this straight, because whoop, we're gonna do it on the correct side here. Using my grid paper, because straight lines help you visualize straight lines. I think that's pretty good. And then we'll do tear and tape on the back again. So this weekend, when I thought I was going to have all my quiet and alone time, I wound up spending, late Friday afternoon till bedtime, and then most of Saturday. My daughter had gotten kind of overwhelmed between starting a new online class, and her dog got a little bit sick, and just life got a little overwhelming for her. So I helped out cleaning up her apartment. I didn't do all of it, but I did big chunks to just help it not be so overwhelming for her. There's a lot of stuff she needs to sort out and put away that I couldn't do for her, but so I wound up doing stuff I hadn't planned this past weekend, which was just fine. Happy to help her. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside. But yeah, wasn't quite what I'd planned to do. Okay, so like I said, this is a card I'm casing from I'm looking for Cheryl Miller, a demonstrator here in Australia, out of one of Kylie's monthly card tutorial bundles. And she had a sentiment out of the Floral Essence and was doing it vertically, and I don't know why I did that, but okay. I'm going to do mine horizontally, and so I should have planned a different card base, but that's fine. Card bases work just fine like that. So I'm going to stamp on this piece, and I'm going to use out of stamping your way to the top. I'm going to use this Welcome to the Team and this on vellum to get it have any chance of drying. I use Stays On, and let's see if I can get that lined up the way I like. Is there a reason I'm using vellum instead of cardstock? In part because the person who made the tutorial used vellum, in part because I don't really have another good use for the vellum. It could definitely be cardstock, but if you own it, use it. Yeah, so that's, especially because, you know, it's just going to layer on top of another white piece. I should have stamped. If I were doing this again, I would start by stamping this so it could dry while I was stamping the rest of it. But we'll just let it sit there for a minute. And I'm going to pull out some rhinestones. And just checking to see what she did with them. That's what she did with them. She colored clear rhinestones with the Stampin' Blend, but since I still have some of these lovely black retired rhinestones, I'm just going to use those when the time comes. And excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to go hit this with my heat tool and see if I can get it to dry without it buckling too much. Talks amongst yourselves there. Just here. I'm using my heat tool on the low. Yep, I think that's going to do it. So the way she recommended to affix the vellum to the white was to put a layer of glue all over this pretty evenly. So I have a Stampin' sponge that I reserve for glue, and as soon as I'm finished with it, I go wash it out so it doesn't get too crusty, and then layer that right on. Yep, that is dry, not smearing. That's good. Okay. Oh, sorry, that kind of shook the... I think she had it flat. And I see why. I'm thinking as I'm going here. Yeah, I see why she did it flat. And I guess I'm gonna do the same thing again. So put little dabs of glue on that. I think maybe I want to try laying them out a little bit more. Yeah, because oh my goodness, I can't pick it up. There we go. One, two, 3, 4, 5. What do you think? These flowers are cut out of the dies that coordinate with, sorry, I will just look it up instead of trying to guess. Hey Jennifer, you'll have to catch my craft room tour on replay because I did that at the beginning of the hour. Where are they here? Here, well written. These are the ones that have all of these words, but they also have some little graphic ones, and they have 3 of these little flowers. So that's what I use to punch those, well, to cut those out. Yeah, I think that's pretty good placement. So I will glue the rest of them down. Whoop. It bounced. And stuck. If we still had those adhesive sheets, I would definitely have put that back behind these to cut them out. Okay, and grab my take a pick tool and rhinestone those. Oh, stick. Like they designed those center holes for them or something. Those Stampin' Up! People. Yeah, so obviously if you were using cardstock instead of vellum, you wouldn't need that white piece underneath there. That's just so you don't see the stamping through the vellum. But like I said, if you own the vellum and you don't have another use for it, why not use it? Yeah. Try the adhesive eraser instead of my thumb there. Here we go. What do you think? Once those masks are cut, this is a pretty quick and easy card. So these are, yeah, so that's the card. Oh my God. Okay. I will be cutting that down and putting it on another card base. Probably a white one, but maybe I'll really cut it down and put it on a So Saffron one. We'll see. Yeah. Into every card, there's a little bit of something, right? So, yeah. Okay, let's see what we can do here. That's 14 by 4, so this should be yeah. This is how I know how to fix it. I've done it before too, Nikki. There we go. Okay, hang tight. Okay, so this is So Saffron cardstock, and we're gonna score it at 10.5 centimeters and cut it at 14.9 centimeters. And voila. Okay, so then that will go on there. And now I've really made it my own, right? Change the orientation and add an additional layer of cardstock. Let's not do that again, huh? Okay. And that one didn't stick. Let's try that again. Now what do you think? Okay. Yeah, I like those colors. Again, something bright and cheerful because it's awfully gray here again today. But that's, so far, that's a nice change for me. I am still enjoying the cool weather and the rain. So I think that's it for me today. I will be back again next Wednesday. If you have requests, again, let me know. If you want to see something in my craft room in more detail, let me know. And I will figure out something else to share this Saturday. This Saturday is my monthly card class. If you're in Melbourne and want to come join me, we're going to be focusing on masculine cards, and I've got a lot of fun things planned. For those of you, well, We're doing masculine cards in particular because we're coming up on Father's Day here in Australia, which is September 1st. And I've had some requests that we do some Father's Day cards. And so a number of them will be available either as Father's Day or masculine birthday cards. And some will just be birthday cards. And yeah, so if you're around and want to join in, just be sure to RSVP by Thursday so I can prep materials for you. Other than that, I will see you online back here in 1 week. And yeah, if you were late tuning in, later on today, Melbourne time, I should have the replays up and ready to go, and I will let you know when that is. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.